Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4, entitled Day 1. And in this episode, we follow Ellie and Dina on their first day in Seattle as they search for Abby, who is a member of the Washington Liberation Front, also known as the WLF or Wolves. This episode is directed by Kate Herron, and that name, when it popped up in the credits, just blew my mind because she is responsible for Loki season 1 on Disney Plus, which was probably one of the best Marvel shows or seasons of Marvel shows that has came out in that era on Disney Plus. And she dipped her toe in this. I don't know if she directed any episodes, at least not offhand, but you know what? It doesn't even matter. I know for certain she directed this one. And I can say that episode 4 of this season is probably my favorite episode of the season so far. Yeah. And I'm counting episode 2. Yes, this is my favorite because this had a great blend of real horror and story and acting. Great acting. It just had a great blend of everything on this episode. And we got the story kind of pushed along a little further. We're getting new characters to this lore with the addition of Isaac, who is played by the great Jeffrey Wright, which is a breath of fresh air. We lose a great actor such as Pedro Pascal on this show, and only to pick up a couple of episodes later with another great actor in Jeffrey Wright to kind of move this show along. But it looks like it appears to be two different characters altogether. This character of Isaac is not lovable. He's not somebody to get behind, at least not so far in this introduction of the character on the show. But as far as the video game is concerned, Isaac Dixon is also voiced by Jeffrey Wright. He is the voice on the video game. So he's reprising the role of Isaac in live action. And that is a nice, sweet touch to the character because he knows the character. He is very familiar with the character. He has played the character. So this only adds to the gravitas, if you will. We're getting a little more of his backstory here on the show, but you know, it didn't matter to me. But the backstory was pretty cool. The little bit that we did get, and we did get the introduction of his menacing side, if you will, with that torture scene with the Scar captive that he has interrogating him for information, which was a very, very unsettling scene for a lot of reasons. But yeah, that was a very disturbing and unsettling way to interrogate somebody. I'll just put it that way. But I love that scene because of the combination of the acting, writing, and direction. That scene had everything going for it. Jeffrey Wright and the actor who plays that Scar captive was, I mean, great. You know, you get the introduction of Isaac, and he's explaining how he always dreamt of owning these pots that are French and they're copper, and you know, he wanted to cook, and it just lays out this whole story. And you know, as a viewer, you're watching all of this and you're like, he's not talking just general conversation to a buddy. You know, there's something going on. There's something more to this scene. And then when they flip it, you see that he has a butt naked Scar, beaten up, chained to the wall captive. And he's heating up this pan so he can torture the captive, the hostage or whatever he is. and interrogate them to see where the scars will attack them next. And it was just unsettling, but it was it was filled with tension, and you couldn't turn away, even though there, there are some unsettling sights on screen. You couldn't turn away because it was so intriguing. It was so well done. I really did enjoy that scene. Ellie and Dana, they have arrived in Jackson, and they're doing their due diligence trying to find Abby. Um, we find out that Dana is indeed pregnant. This is a storyline from the game. All that is uh on point. I was waiting to see when they were going to reveal that, uh at what point this season, and I think this was the perfect time to reveal that bit of news to Ellie. But I'm gonna swing back to that scene in a second. But we get a part here where Ellie and Dana, they're, you know, investigating. They found the way to get into this building, crawl through this window to find wolves who have been killed, with bow and arrows. And they get to another room where they see these other wolves hanging from the ceiling with their guts cut out, and the guts are hanging out. Very graphic, very, very graphic. But I think point well received. It was supposed to be disturbing, and it was, to see that visual. And they're cornered by these other wolves or militia, whatever they are, probably the same thing. But they are put in a situation where they have to fight their way out of the building. They take out two of the wolves to get out of there, run, crawl through this little crawl space, and enter the subway system there that's flooded, trying to hide out, trying to escape, but the wolves track them in there. And this scene here, and correct me if I'm wrong for fans of the video games who played it, uh, is this not in the first game? This scene or this stage of the game? I remember Joel and Ellie being on this subway, trying to this like flooded little subway area, running from the, I think it was the infected, but the what they call them, the Rangers or whatever, that were hunting them as well. I believe this was from the first season, or the first game, but it didn't matter. I was honest to God, as soon as that scene, before they revealed that they was in the subway system, I don't know why it popped in my head. Like, what we didn't get that first season was that was that scene from the game where they were on top of the subways, and it was the whole subway was flooded, and they had to fight their way out of it and all that. I don't know why that scene popped in my head as soon as that came up, and I was like, oh. And they must have set it up to whereas it's here in this season, which was a good spot for it. I actually liked it. It wouldn't have made sense the first season, but it makes perfect sense this season to put it in here in this spot. Very terrifying scene. Very terrifying. I really loved the part right before the infected came, when Dana was listening in. She was kind of, I don't know, it's like she had this daredevil hearing sense, super hearing, and she was listening for the infected to see how many were coming. And she was doing it silently, and she was just putting up her fingers, and it was 1, 2, and then she heard a third, and she went up to 5, and all of a sudden she just opened her eyes and said, it don't make sense to count at this point. At this point. And just then, I mean, a horde of them flooded this subway system, and took out the wolves. Ellie and Dana, they're on top of the subway. They get inside of one of the cars. They're trying to get through, and the infected are beating on side of it, coming through the windows and all this. I mean, that was a situation that you that you do not want to be in. I couldn't imagine being in that situation. I would have just stopped right there. And if I had a bullet in that gun, I just went on ahead and took the easy way out. I don't think I could have. That was frightening. That is a frightening situation to be in. But they made it out not unscathed, because by the time they got up to the platform area where they were going through that swinging metal door, which was rusted, and they had to force their way through it, Dana is behind, lagging behind, and one of the infected got through and was about to bite Dana. But before the infected one can, bite Dana, Ellie puts her arm in front of her, to whereas the infected bit her instead, and they was able to shoot and kill that infected. So they get to a safe place, and Dana she's freaking out because she knows that Ellie's been bit. She's gonna turn, so she points the gun at Ellie, and Ellie at this point has to expose the secret that she has been sworn to uphold, not to tell anybody. The only people on earth who knows this secret at this point is Tommy. Joel knew, of course the Fireflies knew that was in that hospital, but they're all dead. And so the only one who really knows is Tommy. And now she has to confess to Dana that she is in fact immune to the virus. And nice scene, nice setup. Like, look, let me ban this shit. I'll go to sleep. If I wake up and I turn, you can shoot me. If if I'm still me, that's that. Let's move on. And of course, she woke up and she was immune. She showed the scar that she has not turned. And Dana just blurs out, "I'm pregnant." And that initiated a that initiated a love scene. Now, I don't know how those go together, but hey, it worked out. The two finally consummated their love for one another. That this unspoken tension between the two finally has come to fruition. And I thought that was a beautiful way to get to that, even though it was a kind of an awkward time, but those are awkward times. We're in the midst of a apocalypse here. And of course, I mean, the norm is not the norm anymore. So you got to roll with it. And so, the next morning they hear on the radio that they're being attacked. No, not them, but the wolves are being attacked by the Scars. There's a little mini battle going on. They hear the name Nora, and we know that Nora was with Abby at that lodge when she murdered Joel. So this get the antennas poked up on Ellie and Dana. So now they need to find Nora to get to Abby, and that's across town. Basically, that's on the other side of Seattle, where they find out where the base is. And now things are different, because Ellie is looking at it differently, or looking at Dana differently, because she is pregnant. She's with child. Now I can't put you at risk, so she tells Dana, you can stay. Things are different now. You can stay here. I can go on my own. But Dana, loving Ellie, says we're going to go together. And that's how the episode ends. This was a well done episode, but kind of short. It felt short. I didn't clock how long this episode was, but it felt kind of short. But it got to the point. It wasn't any lag in there. This was a fun episode. It started off hot. Started off with the flashback of Isaac when he took out his whole platoon in that little tank there by throwing grenades in there, when he met up with what's her name, Hammerhand, and just killed them all, and made the one that he told to get out of the van, make your choice. And so it started off hot, it was hot in the middle, and it ended hot. So this was a well constructed episode. Like I said, this was my favorite. Episode 2, yes, it was great for a number of reasons, but I think the structure of this episode was really exciting. You never got bored. I never got bored with it. and it has me looking forward for the rest of the season, the next episode, and so on and so forth. So, yes, really good episode here, day one. Um, Man, can't wait to see more with Jeffrey Wright. Can't wait to see what's next for Ellie and Dana. This is the point where I'm kind of lost. You know, not lost, but I'm kind of like everybody else who didn't play the game, because this is the point of the game that I think I stopped. Actually, I go a little further. I want to say, well, I don't know. I can't judge it. I really can't judge where it was, but I know I remember this very well. Like, this was the last part. I know I don't get too much further in the game from this point, so I'm getting to the point whereas I'm a newbie, like all the rest of us here, but I don't care. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far. I would like to know, what did you think of episode 4 of the second season of The Last of Us? Did you like it? Are you still invested after Joel's untimely demise? I know a lot of people have jumped ship after Joel died. They went and raged on Twitter and everywhere else, like, I'm not watching it anymore. I would love to know if you're still on board with it. There's a lot left here. Trust me, after Joel's death in the game, there was still a lot. Yeah, you missed Joel, but it was still a lot going on, and the show is showing that right now. There's more to come. We're not finished. There's a lot more to come out of The Last of Us. But I would love to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Thank you for joining me for the review of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4, entitled Day 1. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.